bathroom. She's gonna come back any minute.
I don't know, just call 911.
Let's go! Open the door!
The narrative kicks off by introducing us to a man named Joey Gazelle. Joey is a low-level associate working for gangsters, mostly handling small-time jobs. His boss is a man named Tommy. One night, Tommy brings Joey along to oversee a drug deal. Joey stands guard while the transaction takes place, involving a large amount of cash. Suddenly, two masked men burst inside and open fire, attempting to rob them of the money and the drugs. Chaos ensues as bullets fly from every direction. In the heat of the battle, Tommy and Joey manage to kill both masked attackers. It is only then that Tommy realizes the terrible truth. The men were corrupt police officers. They had found out about the deal and decided to rip off the criminals themselves. The police department doesn't know about this yet, but Tommy knows that if news gets out that they killed cops, nobody will believe it was self-defense. The heat on them will be unbearable. Everyone scatters to escape. Once they reach the road, Tommy hands the murder weapon to Joey. He instructs him to dispose of the gun properly, as it is the only concrete proof linking them to the cop killing. Joey takes the snub-nosed revolver and returns to his house. However, instead of destroying it, he makes a fatal error. He decides to hide the gun in his basement closet. While he is stashing the weapon, two children are secretly watching. One is Joey's son, Nicky, and the other is his friend, Oleg. Both boys understand exactly what the weapon is. As soon as Joey goes upstairs, Oleg steals the gun. Oleg lives a miserable life next door. His stepfather beats him and his mother daily. Filled with rage and having fantasized about revenge, he finally has the means to act. He returns to his house, and when his father begins beating his mother again, Oleg fires. The gunshot is incredibly loud, echoing all the way to Joey's house. Terrified, everyone freezes. Joey rushes over to Oleg's house only to find the stepfather injured and Oleg gone. Joey realizes with horror that the gun he was supposed to hide is the same one Oleg used. He has to find that weapon immediately, or his entire life will be ruined. He jumps in his car and frantically searches for the boy. Meanwhile, Oleg runs to a nearby park. There, he encounters a homeless addict who realizes the boy is armed. The man snatches the gun and drags Oleg into a public toilet. Joey, trailing them, arrives just as the man pulls Oleg inside. The situation spirals as other people are present, and a shootout begins. Seizing the opportunity, Oleg grabs the gun back and flees the chaotic scene. Later, we see a woman named Divina accompanied by her aggressive brother-in-law, Lester. Lester is furious and begins beating Divina in the street. Oleg witnesses this and is reminded of his own mother's suffering. He steps in to help, throwing the gun at Lester. He tries to shoot, but realizes the gun is empty or jammed. Lester pulls a knife and charges at the boy. Before he can hurt him, Divina attacks Lester, striking him in the head to save the brave child. Divina takes Oleg under her wing. She realizes he is having an asthma attack and needs an inhaler. They enter a pharmacy, but the pharmacist recognizes Divina's profession and refuses to help, behaving rudely. Desperate, Divina creates a scene, threatening the pharmacist until he hands over the medicine. Elsewhere, Tommy and Joey meet with a detective named Rydell. Rydell was the partner of the corrupt cops who tried to rob Tommy. He survived and now tells them he knows a kid is running around the city with the murder weapon. He warns them to find the boy fast, or he will do it himself. Following this, they meet an Italian mob boss named Frankie. Frankie explains he recently secured a massive gasoline deal with the Russian mafia. He insists that things must remain peaceful. If the Russians hear about a cop-killing weapon linked to them, the deal collapses. He demands they fix the situation immediately. Back on the streets, Joey has brought Nicky to a local diner. Nicky spots Divina and Oleg entering the same establishment. He follows them into the restroom and reunites with his friend. Oleg and Nicky hide the gun inside a toilet flush tank before exiting. Nicky runs to his father and tells him everything. Joey rushes Nicky back to the bathroom to retrieve the weapon. However, when they open the tank, they discover the gun has vanished. Someone else saw the boys hiding it and stole it. Joey is consumed by worry. Before, he at least knew Oleg had it, but now the gun is in the wind. Meanwhile, Divina tells Oleg she can no longer protect him. She urges him to go, but Oleg pleads for help, admitting he shot his father and wants to flee the city. Just then, the police arrive. Oleg tries to run, but the officers catch Divina first and then take Oleg into custody. At the station, Rydell corners the boy, demanding to know where the gun is. He threatens Oleg, knowing he had it. But Oleg is smart. He spins false stories, confusing the detective. Since Oleg is a minor, Rydell cannot torture him. Eventually, Oleg's stepfather, Anzer, arrives to take him home. On the other side of town, Joey's wife, Teresa, is comforting Oleg's mother, Mila. Teresa assures her that everything will be fine and offers her a safe place to stay. Mila then opens up, revealing her tragic past. She explains that she was once a prostitute in Russia. A mobster had enslaved her, but when she became pregnant, the mobster panicked. He sent a hitman named Anzer to kill her. However, instead of killing her, Anzer married her to save her life. They fled Moscow together, hoping to stay hidden from the dangerous people chasing them. Back in the neighborhood, Anzer has cornered Oleg. He demands to know where the gun is, but the boy refuses to speak. Anzer's temper flares, and he begins to beat his stepson. Oleg knows Anzer is capable of anything, so he scrambles away, diving into the back of a parked van to hide. Anzer searches but cannot find him. Suddenly, the van engine starts, and the vehicle begins to move. When the doors eventually open, Oleg is discovered by a couple, a husband and wife. Seeing the terror in the boy's eyes, they speak gently, assuring him he has nothing to fear. They point to their own 2 children sitting in the front seat and invite Oleg to their home for safety, promising he can leave whenever he feels better. Oleg, having no other option, agrees. Inside their house, Oleg is surrounded by toys. The home is beautiful and seems to have everything a child could want. However, as he walks deeper inside, he notices surveillance cameras and strange equipment. His instincts tell him something is terribly wrong here. He realizes this couple is definitely involved in something dark. Desperate to escape, Oleg spies the woman, Idili's, purse. He grabs it and locks himself in the bathroom. Rummaging through the bag, he finds her phone and immediately calls Teresa. He explains the entire terrifying situation, that he is trapped in a house with 2 people who give him a bad feeling. Teresa promises to come save him, but needs to know where he is. Oleg doesn't know the location since he arrived in a van. Teresa tells him to check the purse for clues. Inside, he finds a pharmacy receipt with an address printed on it. Teresa memorizes the address and tells him to hold on. She is coming immediately. She speeds to the location without wasting a second. When she rings the doorbell, Idili answers. Teresa asks for Oleg, but Idili plays dumb, claiming to know nothing about a missing boy. She insists she only has her own children and tries to shut Teresa out, accusing her of being a threat. Teresa notices there are no family photos on the walls, a massive red flag. Realizing they are hiding something, she pushes past Idili and runs inside. Idili and her husband, Des, try to physically restrain her, threatening to call the police. Teresa shouts that she isn't afraid. Sensing they are about to attack her, she draws her gun and screams at them to back off. She throws open a closet door and discovers a horrific sight. Oleg is bound, with plastic wrap tied around his face. She drops him to the floor and tears the plastic off. He isn't breathing. She frantically begins CPR, terrified that he is already dead. Moments later, Oleg gasps for air, returning to his senses. Teresa is consumed by rage. Seeing this, Des tries to bargain. He offers her $100,000 in cash and diamonds from their safe if she just walks away and stays silent. Teresa ignores the money and demands to see the other children she saw earlier. She forces open the rest of the closet and finds a nightmare, torture devices, and a collection of DVDs with children's names scrawled on them. The reality hits Teresa hard. These monsters have been abusing and filming countless children. She looks at the floor, realizing the plastic covering is there to catch blood. They are hurting children every single day. Her motherly instinct turns into righteous fury. She picks up the landline, dials the police, and calmly states, "I just heard a gunshot." After hanging up, she shoots both Idili and Des. She knows they have lost their right to live. She grabs Oleg and the other children and flees the house of horrors. Meanwhile, Joey learns that Oleg has been found. He reunites with the boy and asks about the weapon. Oleg explains he hid the gun in the diner's flush tank, but it was gone when they checked. Joey takes Oleg and resumes the hunt. He tracks down a body shop owner who admits he stole the gun from the bathroom, but sold it to a man named Lester, the same pimp who was beating Divina earlier. Joey sets off to find Lester. On the way, he is intercepted by Tommy and his associate, Sal. They demand to know why he hasn't returned the weapon. Joey insists he is close to retrieving it, but they don't want to hear excuses. They force him out of his car, leaving Oleg sitting alone inside. Tommy marches Joey toward the railway tracks. He hands Joey a pistol, telling him that this mess is his fault. If he had just ditched the gun properly, none of this would be happening. Now, he says, get ready to die. Joey is terrified, but in a twist, Tommy turns and shoots Sal instead. He reveals that Sal was an informant who had told the corrupt detective, Rydell, everything about their drug deal and the missing gun. Rydell has been blackmailing them. Tommy calls Rydell, who is waiting at the train station for a payoff. Tommy tells him the money is in a bag hidden in a locker. When Rydell opens the bag, a bomb detonates, killing the detective instantly. Tommy wants to end this saga tonight. He takes Joey and Oleg to a local ice hockey rink. Inside, the Italian and Russian mobs are waiting. They are tired of the loose ends. Anzer is also there. They begin to torture Joey, burying him up to his neck in the ice and beating his face. They blame him entirely for the chaos. Their anger escalates, and they decide to bury Oleg in the ice as well. They order Anzer to shoot his stepson. Joey screams, begging them to spare the innocent child. Anzer steps forward, gun in hand, but hesitates. He realizes that despite his cruelty, he raised Oleg. He cannot pull the trigger. He lowers the weapon. The Russian mobsters, disgusted by his hesitation, shoot Anzer dead. Now it is Joey's turn. Facing death, Joey looks at the Russian boss and decides to spill the truth. He reveals that Frankie, the Italian boss, played them. Frankie knew Anzer was cooking drugs and ordered the hit on him. He also reveals that the gun used to kill the cop belonged to Tommy. Hearing this, Tommy flies into a rage and pulls his gun on Joey. Before he can fire, the Russians open fire. A massive shootout erupts in the confined space. Bullets fly everywhere, killing almost everyone, including Tommy. Finally, only Frankie is left standing. He approaches Joey to finish him off. Joey plays his final card. He reveals that he was never a true gangster. He is an undercover FBI agent who has been gathering their secrets for years. Frankie is stunned. Suddenly, Frankie notices Oleg standing behind him with a gun. Distracted, Frankie turns, giving Joey the split second he needs. He snatches a gun and shoots Frankie in the head. The entire gang is wiped out. Joey grabs Oleg and stumbles out of the rink. Outside, the FBI arrives. They explain his wire signal cut out, which is why they moved in. Joey briefs them, effectively closing the case. Joey takes Oleg to a diner to get breakfast, wanting the boy to calm down before taking him home. Suddenly, Lester walks in. He recognizes Oleg as the kid who tried to shoot him earlier. He pulls a knife and lunges at the boy. Joey intercepts him, and a brutal fight ensues. During the struggle, Joey spots a snub-nosed revolver tucked in Lester's waistband. It's Tommy's gun, the one he has been hunting for. Joey kills Lester in self-defense and retrieves the weapon. He grabs Oleg and stumbles to the car. Joey is severely injured from the torture and the fight. He is desperate to get home before he passes out. Meanwhile, Mila, believing Oleg is dead and unable to live without him, turns on the gas in her kitchen. She lights a match, causing a massive explosion that destroys the house. Teresa runs out, horrified, realizing her neighbor is dead. Joey drives erratically, crashing his car just as he reaches his driveway. He collapses, unconscious. The fire brigade and police arrive. Oleg stands by the wreckage, crying for his mother. The next day, news breaks that Joey Gazelle has died. The government gives him a hero's funeral. Teresa, realizing there is nothing left for her in the city, packs up her son and Oleg. They move to a quiet farmhouse in the countryside to start over. As they settle in, Teresa turns to the back door and says, "Don't ever ask me to bury myself again." We then see Joey walk into the frame, alive and well. He faked his death to escape the retaliation of the surviving mob families. He orchestrated the crash and the funeral to ensure his enemies stopped looking for him. Now, The family is reunited, safe, and hidden away forever. The film ends here. So friends, our video concludes here. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.